Welcome to the Meet Crete podcast, where we sit down and talk with people who make Crete run every day. Hi, I'm Dave. I'm one of the creative producers inside the communications department at Crete Carrier. And today, literally a twofer. We're getting two guests for the price of one. And we're going to talk to a couple of people that have a really interesting role here at the company. And we're going to learn more about it because I don't know as much as I'd like to. So Nikki and Jodi are here. You guys both work in risk management, but you work in different capacities. So This is Nikki, this is Jodi. Nikki, why don't you introduce yourself, tell everybody what you do here, and Jodi, you do the same after.
I'm Nikki. I've been here for a little over 6 years. I work with drivers in the accident department. So sometimes they're having their worst day, and we're here to help them work through it.
My name is Jodi. I've been at Crete I hit my 1 year mark in September.
Fantastic.
I work in the OS&D cargo department. So basically my job entails drivers call me. They say, hey, I got stuff left on my trailer, and it's my job to get it off the trailer.
Very cool. Okay, so we'll get into both of those functions of risk management, but let's talk about your background real quick. Each of you, in your own words, however you want to tell me, how did you end up at Crete Carrier?
Mine was I had a few sister-in-laws that had worked here. My husband had worked here, so it kind of piqued my interest because I was working at Tenneco, which is a factory job, and that's not something that you can stay at for a long, long term. So I kind of just got interested hearing through family members how great Crete was and how much they care about their employees and stuff.
Jodi, what about you?
Well, before I came to Crete, I worked as a 911 dispatcher and a jailer for a sheriff's office up north in Knox County, which is basically South Dakota. And my husband and I made the decision to move down to Seward and buy a home because he's got daughters down here. And I was looking for employment. And honestly, I know this is going to sound horrible, but I applied here on a whim, not thinking in a million years that I would get called because I didn't know what risk management was. And
So you didn't even know what the job was when you applied for it?
no, but my dad is a truck driver, and he's been a truck driver for a long time. And, I've heard a lot of good things about Crete, and I was like, let's just see what happens. And got called in for an interview. I got to learn about the position, and I did my own little research on Crete and decided, that's where I want to be. And when they offered me the position, I didn't even have to think about it.
So a year later, you glad you decided to just throw something to the wall and see if it sticks?
Pretty much.
That's great. And you've been in 6 years. You've got to be pretty happy, right?
Oh, most definitely, yeah.
We'll talk about the functions of your job in just a little bit. Is helping people in general, is that something that's important to both of you?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you didn't necessarily know that you were going to be doing that, but as a 911 dispatcher, you're kind of in that same kind of field, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I had to learn how to be extremely organized and have a lot of empathy for people that are going through rough situations, and even people that were in the jail that, may not necessarily be bad people, just made a really bad mistake, have a little bit of empathy there, but stern at the same time. And I knew regardless of what I did here, it was somehow going to be helping drivers, which is, as I said, pretty close to my heart because my dad's been a driver for a long time.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, kind of the same. Just being able to be there and help where I can, and I don't know.
No. Well, it's kind of a calling, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes you feel good. It makes instead of just like data entry, you could actually help people, and they're not sometimes having the best day if they're in an accident. And
Well, you said you help people on their worst days.
Yeah.
And if a truck driver has an accident, first of all, we hope they're not injured.
correct.
We talk about safety an awful lot in this company, so already you're concerned, right, when you take the call. What is it that you do with the driver after they've had an accident? What's the first thing that you're concerned with?
Well, making sure that nobody is injured and just what steps do we need to take depending on what type of accident it is? Is it something minor where we maybe just struck a fixed object, or is it something more major like with the snowstorms? Did we have a multi-car accident? So just trying to figure out what they're going to need depending on, are we going to need to get EMS out there? Are we going to need to get maybe just somebody to repair a tire? So it just kind of depends on the level of the accident of what steps we're going to take. So you just kind of have to listen to what they're telling you, listen to the background to see, is there EMS already on the scene? Do you hear firefighters out there or anything like that?
This kind of goes along with your old job, but do they teach you at all about de-escalation and trying to bring the temperature down on the phone call? Because, adrenaline and being hyped up after an accident, you can't really necessarily control how you're feeling at that time.
They do. They are very good at the training, and they try to make sure you've gotten multiple different calls so you kind of know like how to approach it, so you're not just going in blind, kind of.
Sure. And then from the load side, as opposed to a driver and necessarily equipment, we're servicing a lot of clients, and that load, whatever they're taking, wherever it's going, it's got to get there sometime, and somebody's already expecting it, right? So that's got to be a lot of stress as well.
Well, in some cases it can be. It can get very stressful with, shippers that might take a little bit longer than you'd like, and you got a driver, attached to that. If he's not moving or she's not moving, they're not making money, And at the end of the day, as much as we all love our jobs, we're in it to bring home a paycheck so we can live. And if the driver's not making money, that means the company's not making money. And like you said, the customer needs their product. They didn't order it just because. And so we like to try to get a resolution as quickly as possible so we can get the product where it needs to be, whether it needs to go back to the shipper for any sort of reason, or we can get it reworked and get it to the customer so they can put it out on their shelves for their customers.
So what kind of things are you dealing with in relation to freight?
We have load shifts, whole load refusals. We even have situations where product is refused because it's short dated, which means it expires sooner than what the stores like due to storage. And then you have the easy ones that are shortages, which are easy peasy. But yeah, the most major ones are basically the load shifts and the whole load refusals. Well, I actually am working on one right now. Due to a trailer needing to be repaired, we have to do an entire transload, which is a whole nother ball game. This would be my first transload I have to work.
It sounds like every day is something different.
Mm-hmm. You can never,
because every load is different, right? So
absolutely. I mean, at this place, you can't come to work, but it's Wednesday, so it's going to be this kind of day, because you never know what's going to happen from day to day. I mean, like Nikki pointed out with accidents, I mean, they had, 100-car pileup? Yep. Well, we have a truck in there, and that truck has freight on it, so now we have to do stuff too, and it's just, it can be, as I said, it can be a very easy day or it can be a very hard day.
You just never know what's on the other end of that call, which can be stressful, but also can be interesting and kind of fun, depending on how you look at it.
Well, it's a problem-solving thing. Once you figure out that nobody's hurt, then it becomes a problem-solving type thing, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think a lot of people think about that either. When you see those on the news where in Michigan they have a 200-car pileup on the interstate because of the weather or whatever, okay, besides possible injuries and vehicle damage, there are a lot of things that could be contained in that stretch of road between those 200 cars. And I don't know how much freight is trapped in that, but that's all got to go somewhere. And ours is probably in there somewhere as well.
Well,
and then you guys are scrambling.
Right. And the next thing you think about, what is the freight? Is it hazardous material? Is it food grades, product? Is it dry? I mean, you just never know what's in there.
Still in the trailer, depending on what kind of accident it is.
Oh, there you go.
So,
I know I do a lot of work with Tim, and I shoot a lot of videos with him, and he's always talking about safety and hitting struck objects and fixed objects, and we just preach safety, safety. It's unavoidable, though, isn't it? I mean, as many trucks and cars are as on our interstate system, it's kind of unavoidable, isn't it?
Yeah, because we're human. Some things are going to be missed no matter how hard we try. So that's why they're called accidents.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's not a matter of if it happens, it's when it happens. We like to think that we've got enough training to be prepared for it. And like you said, we preach safety, but all the safety precautions in the world is not going to stop an outside force to throw a wrench in the gears.
I'm sure both of you probably have something that you've worked on in the past where I know I've had these things at work too, where you just all of a sudden your brain just kind of clicks into what you're supposed to do and you just get stuff done. Is there a situation that you guys remember where you were just dialed in and you got it done and you're proud of yourself?
It's almost kind of a daily occurrence to me. I mean, not necessarily like, yep, gold star for me today. It's just I get really hyper focused on getting my stuff organized, taking care of the emails that are coming into our wrist box for the cargo side, and it's like I shut the entire world out around me, and then someone comes up next to me, scares me, or I forget it's time to go to break. That's an ongoing joke in my department.
I mean, kind of. There's situations where, okay, we may have had an accident in a rural area. There's no Ubers. There's not a lot of transportation. So when you can start to bounce things off of other people, and then we're all coming in and coming up with a plan to figure out whether we have to maybe run a U-Haul to get the driver from point A to point B. Usually that's not something that we're used to doing. So just trying to problem solve and find that little clue so you can make it to the end goal kind of thing.
Sure. This is really different looking at two people at the same time because I don't typically do that. You guys wanted to do this together, right?
Right. I personally have never been on camera before, so I was having a lot of nervousness about doing this.
That's not a big deal, though, is it?
No.
that's
Just a conversation.
Not once you get going.
No.
It's to forget about the camera.
Do you guys work fairly closely with each other?
Currently, since they are moving people around to redo the older side of Crete in Lincoln, we have kind of been split up, for lack of a better word. I work over by TCI, and you work more up in your Schaefer Ops.
Yep.
So not as close anymore.
Smack dab in the middle of ops and breakdown. And
what is it that you guys do individually or maybe even together that makes your time at Crete more pleasurable, do you think?
Working together with other people on my side of the department, I communicate with them more so than accidents now since we've been put on different floors. But it's getting to know the people that outside of our department that sit around me, and we just been able to build a rapport with other people, and get to know them where they came from before they came here, and then we just all developed our little inside jokes and just have a good time being around each other. And then the interesting thing is listening to the lady that sits directly across from me have a conversation with a driver, and then transfers to risk, and then I get the call, and then her and I get a laugh about listening to each other.
I'm going to transfer this call 3 feet to my right.
Right.
I get that. I totally get that. What do you guys like to do for fun? You guys have families?
It's just me and my husband and our 2 cats. But he likes to do D&D, which is Dungeons and Dragons. Yep. And I've started to get familiar with it because his family, his siblings like to get together, and we'll do it online because they're kind of spread out through Nebraska.
There you go.
So usually every other weekend or every weekend, depending on people's schedules, we'll all sit down and end up playing that, which is something totally different than what I'm used to. because I'm more of the hunting and fishing and
Oh, yeah.
outdoors as opposed
Real outside
to
stuff as opposed to being strapped to a table for 6 hours. Yeah. But I get that can be fun too. Jodi, what about you?
Well, my husband and I are opposite. He's the outdoorsy. Let's go outside and, play in the dirt and fish. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. No, my husband and I don't have any children either. We have our dogs and a cat. I have an English bulldog and a pug cross, and they're what's important to me. I've recently gotten back into reading, but as far as my husband and I, we really enjoy just going out and exploring things. That we like traveling, so maybe a little day trip here to go check this interesting thing out that I read about online. And we also like to explore different restaurants. We're both foodies. We like to try new things.
Oh, cool.
Not long after we moved down here, we checked out this Mediterranean restaurant that quickly became one of our favorites. Then we tried an Ethiopian restaurant, which was not my favorite. Way too spicy. I'm not strong enough for that one. But yeah, that's our thing. We like going out and basically checking out, like seeing interesting things, like what was it? The Golden Spike Tower in North Platte.
Yep.
That was an
fun.
interesting place. The Archway Monuments. We have Robbers Cave on our list to go visit. But that's what I enjoy doing. But he loves going fishing. I'll go with him, but I'm not touching the fish. I'm not touching the worm. I will hold the pole.
Just watch from the car.
Yes.
That's what my wife does, just watch from the car. Well, I appreciate you guys coming in to sit down and talk. And we appreciate what you do for the drivers and for our customers as well, because all of that stuff is very important. And safety for all of it is the most important thing. And we're glad you're working on our behalf. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Just a reminder, you can find all of our weekly updates, driver stories, and more episodes of this podcast on the Crete Carrier YouTube channel. We'll be back to find out more about the people we work with inside Crete Carrier and Schaefer Trucking in the next episode of Meet Crete.